In the heart of Germany's dense black forest, concealed among towering trees and shrouded in legends, there exists a bridge that has struck terror into the hearts of those who've dared to cross it. This is the eerie tale of the Devil's Bridge, a place where I personally encountered the inexplicable and terrifying. My journey to the Devil's Bridge began with a desire for adventure, an insatiable curiosity, and an obsession with the macabre. As a seasoned traveler, I had heard rumors about the bridge for years, stories whispered around campfires and recounted in hushed tones among locals. My determination to confront my fears finally led me to the remote village of Kromlau, in eastern Germany, where the bridge was said to reside. As I arrived in Kromlau, a sense of foreboding settled over me. The town seemed oddly deserted, with only a few elderly residents who eyed me with a mixture of caution and sympathy. They warned me against my quest, speaking in hushed tones of the sinister history of the Devil's Bridge. Nevertheless, their warnings only fueled my desire to explore this place of mystery and dread. The Devil's Bridge, I soon discovered, earned its ominous name from a grim legend that had been passed down through the generations. According to the tale, the bridge's construction was a pact forged with the devil himself. A local nobleman desperately needed a bridge to span the deep chasm that divided the forest. In his desperation, he made a dark bargain, his soul in exchange for the devil's craftsmanship. As the bridge took shape, it became apparent that the devil had no intention of letting the nobleman escape his end of the bargain. The malevolent creation was unstable, its cursed stones constantly shifting, and the air surrounding it was thick with an unnatural chill. Legend had it that the ghost of the betrayed nobleman, along with the malevolent spirit of the devil, haunted the bridge and its surroundings, exacting revenge on anyone who dared to cross it. My first visit to the Devil's Bridge occurred on a bleak autumn afternoon. The forest was dimly lit, the canopy of trees blocking out the sun, and a sense of unease washed over me as I approached the bridge. The ancient stones beneath my feet were worn and cracked, testaments to the years of torment they had endured. As I reached the midpoint of the bridge, I heard the faint whisper of voices carried on the cold, damp breeze. I turned to find no one behind me. The voices grew louder, as though a crowd had gathered, their words indecipherable, yet filled with malice. I quickened my pace, but the bridge seemed to stretch endlessly before me, making escape impossible. With each step, the voices intensified, and a chilling dread enveloped me. My heart pounded in my chest as I felt unseen hands gripping my shoulders and pulling me backward. Panic overcame me, and I fled from the bridge, stumbling and gasping for breath as I finally found solid ground. In the following weeks, I couldn't shake the sensation of malevolence that had taken root in my mind. The Devil's Bridge haunted my dreams, its malevolent presence beckoning me back. Determined to confront my fear, I returned to Kromlau. This time, I arrived at the bridge on a moonless night, accompanied only by the dim glow of a flashlight. As I stepped onto the cursed stones, I felt an eerie sense of familiarity, as though the bridge itself recognized me. In the distance, I could hear the faint, melancholic wail of a ghostly figure. The air grew icy and a foggy mist rolled in, obscuring my surroundings. Then, from the shadows, a ghastly figure emerged. The apparition was unmistakably that of the betrayed nobleman, his spectral form flickering in and out of existence. He beckoned me to come closer, and despite my racing heart, I found myself compelled to comply. As I approached, I could see the pain and despair etched into the nobleman's face. He reached out, his cold, bony hand passing right through mine, and I shuddered at the touch of his frigid grip. He seemed to be whispering a name, an anguished plea for redemption. And then, without warning, the figure dissolved into the mist, leaving me alone on the cursed bridge. Over the next several months, I became obsessed with the Devil's Bridge and its tragic history. My research led me to the chilling realization that the nobleman's pact with the devil had not ended with his death. It was said that the devil continued to exact his price from those who ventured too close to the bridge. The sinister force of the bridge seemed to feed on the souls of the curious and the unsuspecting. This revelation did not deter me, but instead stoked the flames of my obsession. I felt that I had to confront the devil himself, to challenge the malevolent spirit responsible for so much suffering. My mind had become a battleground between reason and irrationality, fear and fascination. The malevolent energy was palpable, as though the very stones themselves were alive and conspiring against me. The ghostly figure of the betrayed nobleman appeared, more tortured and vengeful than ever. He reached out to me, his voice filled with agony and anger. On a dark and stormy night, I returned to the Devil's Bridge one last time, determined to face the malevolent spirit that had haunted me for so long. Armed with candles, incense, and an ancient book of exorcism that I had acquired from a distant monastery, I ventured onto the bridge. I began to chant the exorcism incantation, the words resonating with power and authority. The nobleman's figure convulsed in agony, his wails growing louder, and a sinister force seemed to gather around us. Just as I felt that I was about to be overwhelmed, a deep, guttural voice filled the air. It was the devil himself, his presence like a tempest, his anger and fury unleashed upon me. But I persisted, reciting the exorcism with unwavering determination. As the incantation reached its climax, a blinding light enveloped the bridge. The malevolent figures were cast back, their cries fading into the night. The bridge itself seemed to shudder and groan, and a deafening roar filled the forest. When the light finally dissipated, the Devil's Bridge was no longer a place of darkness and dread. The malevolent energy had been exorcised, and the curse that had tormented the bridge for centuries was finally broken. I left the Devil's Bridge forever changed, my obsession with the macabre replaced by a sense of triumph and peace. The haunted bridge now stood as a symbol of the power of the human spirit to confront and overcome the darkest of forces. Yet, I cannot deny that the Devil's Bridge still calls to me in my dreams. The memory of that night, the nobleman's anguished face, and the sinister presence of the devil himself continue to haunt my thoughts. The malevolent spirits may have been banished, but their memory lives on, a reminder that there are places in this world where the line between the living and the dead is thinner than we dare to imagine. And so, the story of the Devil's Bridge in the Black Forest of Germany ends, but its chilling legacy endures, casting a long shadow over those who dare to walk in its vicinity. The supernatural forces that once terrorized this place may have been exorcised, but the echoes of their torment linger on, a testament to the enduring power of legends and the terrifying unknown that can lurk in even the most idyllic of landscapes.